What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group to circumvent social media shadow banning and censorship. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to have a serious conversation about Kamala Harris. We have to have a serious conversation about Kamala Harris because, in all seriousness, the Harris Walls campaign has to be the greatest con game in American political history, or at least modern American political history, because we're talking about a woman and a campaign overall that blew through a record $1 billion. Okay. She completely blew through a record $1 billion just to lose in a landslide. But here's the thing. It's not the fact that she just lost the election and blew 1 billion. She raised this historical amount of money that we've never seen before, while knowing and understanding that she never had a shot to win to begin with. Joe Biden was replaced allegedly because the internal polling showed there was no way he could win. It wasn't happening. And if you remember the reports from back then, the donors weren't even willing to give up any more money because they said, what are we doing this for? He's not going to win. We all know he's not going to win. So what did they do? They pulled the old switcheroo and put Kamala Harris in his place. And then what we saw from that point on is a historic amount of money get raised in a matter of 3 months. But now what we're getting ready to listen to, this is Kamala Harris's senior advisor, David Plouffe, I believe his name is, if I remember correctly, David Plouffe. And what he's going to do right now is admit to you that her internal polling showed that she never stood a chance. They knew this, yet they were taking all this money in from donors, very rich donors, as well as her poor supporters that were giving her, the little nickels and dimes and $5 here and $15 there. Let's get into what David Plouffe has to say first. Let's listen to this.
When we got in, my recollection is some of that snapped back, but we were behind. I mean, I think it surprised people because there was these public polls that came out in late September, early October, showing us with leads that we never saw. It was just basically a race that in the battlegrounds was 46-47, 47-48. So that's not where we started. We started behind. She was able to climb out. I think even after the debate, we might have gained, 0.51. It wasn't a race that moved a lot. And so I think when you think about our own internal analytics, if you have Wisconsin at 47-47, or Pennsylvania 48-47 Trump, let's say, which I think is where we had it at the end, you've got to have undecided break your way more than your opponents, and you've got to get a little benefit from turnout, which we weren't able to do.
He literally just admitted that they started behind. And when the polling started coming out, like what you see here, and I'll zoom in so you can see it better, he just said, they're showing us numbers that we did not see, because our polling showed that Kamala was getting destroyed the entire time. Yet you have the mainstream media press with all of these polling outlets, Yahoo, Pew, New York Times, Emerson, NPR. Everybody is saying, oh, Kamala Harris is winning. She's winning. So what does that say? CNN, CBS News, NBC News had her up +5. All these mainstream media outlets swore up and down by the polling that she was winning when she was clearly losing the entire time. And I would have to say that has to be one of the chief reasons that she received so much money so quickly. It's because these mainstream media polls were lying and saying that Kamala Harris was winning when the entire time the internal polling knew that she was getting washed. Now, here's the thing. She got washed in a bloodbath, as I like to say. Fine. She raised $1 billion just to lose. Okay. But she not only blew through the $1 billion, but is also $20 million in debt after the fact. $20 million in debt afterwards. And now mega donors like John Morgan are saying this will follow Harris for the rest of her career. She'll never have a career in politics again because of this. But I think that there's going to be a large blowback on the DNC as well. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody knew what they were doing. And this was all just one big cash grab. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. But first, what I want to do is that I want to take a moment to play this video for you all real quick so we can listen to what the mega donor has to say concerning Kamala Harris's future, as well as the future of the DNC. So let's get into this video right quick.
So, John, I never heard anything like this before. Do you think somebody stole the money?
Well, maybe legally. I mean, look, to me, you remember the movie Mad Max when everybody's just doing whatever they wanted into the world? That's what happened here. All of a sudden, everybody's got the keys to the candy store. Ad buyers, talent, consultants. There's 100 days to do it. And the money started pouring in. Remember this, Chris. It wasn't pouring in for Harris. It was pouring in against Trump. Everybody that was voting and supporting Harris was really voting against Trump. And everybody that was voting for Trump was voting for Trump. So she had all this money coming in. She had all these consultants. And if you don't run the ads, you don't get paid for the buy. They were running ads in Florida, where I live, nonstop. And I'm like, why? I mean, are they running them in Alabama and Idaho too? And I'll tell you why. If you don't run the ads, the buyer doesn't get paid. A $900,000 to put her face on the Sphere in Las Vegas. In the Sphere, the ego, the crazy, the commissions. I was at the White House for a dinner Friday night, talking to a lot of people, and I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of whispering. There's a lot of names about who got paid this, who got paid that. And a lot of people got rich on the back of donors trying to stop Trump. And I think this disqualifies her forever. If you can't run a campaign, you can't run America. And that would be the argument just day one. So it was terrible. I think she did a good job in the debate. I think she did as good a job as she could hope for in a short period of time. I told everybody, she should not have been the nominee. She was not going to win, and she didn't win, and she lost badly. So she's got to go figure out her life. She's in Hawaii. Tim Walz was at the dinner. She was in Hawaii. So she's having a call with donors this week. They tell me about her political future. I don't think she has a political future. So that's my thought on her.
He just said a lot of people got rich off of the Harris-Walz ticket. Once again, if I didn't say this earlier, I'm going to say it right now. This has to be the greatest wealth transfer in American political history as it pertains to a ticket, presidential ticket, just doling out money like crazy to, quote, consultants. Do you know that technically I could be a consultant? Anybody can be a consultant. That's a con. That's a con. And then when you come over here, and I know, a lot of you have seen this stuff already, but we just have to put it all into perspective. Let me come over here to this Fox News article, right? We all know that she gave Oprah Winfrey, or her company Harpo. She didn't pay it directly to Oprah. Okay, so I guess that makes it okay. But the Harpo company, she gave 2 payments of $500,000. Right? You scroll down a little bit, you see these 2 clowns here, Al Sharpton and Roland Martin. They love to tap dance for the DNC. Roland Martin's company, New Vision Media, received $350,000, and the payments were for apparently advertising. That's what those payments were for. Now, mind you, if you know the guy Roland Martin right here, the guy with this really goofy, colorful looking shirt, He advertises the DNC all day, every day, because he's a Democrat, and he represents for his side. So when you're telling me that you paid him $350,000 for an advertisement, that just looks like a little, I don't know, what's the word, payola? Let me just break you off because you've been holding it down for me for a long time. The same thing with Reverend Al Sharpton. What is this here? She gave Reverend Al Sharpton $250,000. It says it right here, really small. I don't have it highlighted, but the Kamala Harris 2024 campaign reportedly gave two $250,000 donations to National Action Network, the organization led by Reverend Al Sharpton, ahead of her sit down with the MSNBC host. So she paid this guy, this ambulance chaser, Al Sharpton, $500,000. Excuse me. I don't want the censorship police to come out. She didn't pay Al Sharpton. She paid the National Action Network $500,000. What, for softball interviews? Because Roland Martin interviewed as well, and he gave a softball interview also. And Oprah Winfrey, who she gave Harpo $1 million to, they also did a softball town hall. She's just paying off everybody. And the thing is, once again, I keep harping the same thing over and over again, but she didn't have to do that because these people always champion the Democrats. So that tells me that you got into this just to pay off your friends. You got into this just to pay off people that were, I guess, loyalists to you and always showed loyalty to you. Meanwhile, get this, DNC staffers have to create a GoFundMe to get paid. DNC staffers were abruptly let go without payment. Can we read this for just a moment? This is unbelievable. Last week, 2/3 of the DNC staff was laid off with little and no severance. We were heartbroken to see our colleagues who dedicated countless hours to electing Democrats up and down the ballot depart under these circumstances. And we are furious with DNC leadership for failing to provide severances to those affected. As such, we are creating a relief fund which will directly aid staff members, including single parents and workers expecting children impacted by the recent layoffs. I thought they cared about women. Wow, really? Workers expecting children and single parents? I thought they cared about women. I thought they wanted to protect all women. I guess not. I guess they didn't have enough money to pay these women and these single mothers and women that are pregnant, But hey, yeah, believe all women and protect all women and stay out of women's business unless you're working for the DNC and you're a staffer, and then we're going to let you go without pay. But I digress. The funds raised will be distributed. The funds raised will be distributed equally to any laid off member who opts in to receive funds. We hope these funds can soften the economic blow to those impacted. Now, here's my thing, man. As crazy and awful as this sounds, because this is the DNC, for all you know, this might be a con game too. This might be a con job for all we know. We have no idea because these people are that crooked. Unbelievable. Let's listen to the last little bit of this video here on News Nation.
How bad is this for the party going forward?
It's terrible because when you don't trust, it's like Andrew Gillum down here in Florida. He lost by just a little bit, but the money was, to DeSantis, just a little bit. But the money was so squandered and kept that, and he was going to take all that money he kept and rebuild the party. The Republicans got 1 million more voters now. What happened in Florida is with Gillum is going to the same thing is going to follow Harris for the rest of her career. She cannot be trusted with the money.
So if she couldn't be trusted with campaign money, God only knows what she would have done with the U.S. economy. I rest my case. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And please don't forget to follow me on Telegram and Rumble at TD Media Group. Both my Telegram and Rumble link will be in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.